really excited to be here today because I want to talk to you about mindset reset. Because if your business has been feeling more like a maze when it should feel amazing, if you're struggling to find clients, if you're struggling to hit your revenue goals, then I want you to stay with me here for this very short but powerful session where we're going to talk about the mindset reset. 2021 was a really tough year for so many of us. It was really challenging. And I'm not really a big fan of resolutions. I really don't do those because I'm very goal focused, right? I'm not a big fan. But at the end of the year, when we say Happy New Year, and it seems like there's a part of us that always looks back, and that gives us an opportunity to truly reassess, to look back and reflect on how last year went, right? At this time last year, we had these amazing goals. We had all these things that we wanted to accomplish for the year. And then now we can look back and say, okay, at the end of the year, did we hit them? Did we hit those goals? Right? But so we need to look back and reflect on how last year went, and then if we didn't hit our goals, we know that we need to do something different in order to hit our goals this year, right? Because something didn't work last year. If you didn't hit your goals, something wasn't working. So as the new year comes around, this is an opportunity for us to basically close the door on last year, to clean the slate, and to regroup, right? So that this year you can hit your goals and maybe even exceed your goals. Now is the time for us to reflect on who you've been. Okay. Who have you been? Because who you've been is the exact correlation to your results that you have gotten. So your business is a reflection of who you are. It's a reflection of who you are being. It's a mirror to you of who you are and who you are being. And who you're being is ultimately what leads to the results that you're getting. Who you're being ultimately leads to the results that you're getting. So it's so important to accept responsibility for your results or lack thereof, right? Maybe you didn't hit your goals. Did you hit your goals last year? Did you? That's great if you did. If not, why not? What shifts do you need to make so that you don't end up in the same place this time next year? What needs to change so that you can actually hit your goals and you're not in the same place you are now? What changes do you need to make? You need to be willing to step away from who you've been and step into who you need to be to achieve your goals. So hopefully that makes sense. Hey, Justine, great to see you. So hopefully that makes sense, right? You need to be able to step into who you need to be to achieve your goals. Okay. You need to be willing to step into who you need to become in order to serve people that you know you're meant to serve. There are so many people out there right now. They're desperately waiting for you. They need you. There are so many people out there that are waiting for you, but they'll never find you if you don't take ownership for who you're being now and who you need to become in order to make the shift and hit your goals. I have a mantra that I use with my clients all the time. It's kind of like this 4-step process. It's get real, reveal, deal, and heal. And the very first most important one is get real. Get real with what did or didn't work in your business. Get real with the results that you got. And then reveal all of the things that you need to change that didn't work and all the things you need to keep doing that worked. Reveal those things and then really dissect what you need to do to change. So it's get real, reveal, deal, and heal. And again, the most important part of that is get real. You can't change what you don't acknowledge, right? You have to be willing to admit that you are your biggest barrier to success. You are your biggest barrier to success. Are you willing to admit that you are your own worst enemy when it comes to being and building a successful business? And I can tell you that wholeheartedly. And I say that with tough love because I have been the biggest barrier to my success. Every year, year over year, I kept saying, this is it. This is the year. And then when I really looked back, I didn't do the things I needed to be doing to move the needle in my business. I was making poor decisions. I wasn't taking the correct actions. I was struggling. I was the barrier. I was the barrier to my success. So are you willing to admit that you are the barrier to your own success? You need to be okay with admitting that, right? Because I know how hard it can be. Our nature, when we're building this business, our nature is to blame our circumstances, blame others. Our nature is to make excuses. But if you do this and you make excuses, you aren't accepting responsibility for your actions or for your inaction, and you aren't accepting responsibility for your own results. So, who do you need to become so that you can change the trajectory of your business? What needs to change so that you can change your business, so you can change your life, and so you can change your future? So, number one of the mindset reset in this session, number one is assume 100% ownership for your results. 100% ownership. You have to have an ownership mindset. 100% ownership for where you are in your business. Nobody else can build your business for you. A little secret there, right? Nobody can build your business for you but you. It's 100% on you. So you really need to hold yourself accountable for things that you are doing and the things that you're not doing to move the needle, to hit your goals, to propel your business forward. So if this is making sense, I want you to let me know. I want you to launch a rocket emoji down there in the comments or give me a hell yeah in the comments. Just let me know that this is resonating with you and that this is something that hopefully is helpful. It's a little tough love, a little swift kick in the butt. I always say that the universe does this. When you need to make a change, the universe gives you a little tap, a slap, and then eventually the 2x4. This is just the tap. This is the tap of tough love. But I want you to let me know in the comments that this is making sense to you. Let me know, because it's time to get off the struggle bus and get on to that fast track to success. And you can do this by empowering yourself to take decisive action and do the things that are going to propel yourself forward and stop doing the things that are keeping you stuck. Okay, so you need to adopt an ownership mindset. Ask yourself, what do you need to become? Then hold yourself accountable for stepping into that role. Be hyper aware of where you're spending your time. That's one thing I'm doing really well this year so far, because we do get stuck on the shiny object syndrome, right? We sit down in front of our computer in the morning with the best intentions. Before we know it, half the day's gone by, and all we did was follow breadcrumbs, right? And we ended up doing nothing that was on our list at this point, right? So it's really about being hyper aware about where you're spending your time. What do you do each and every day? And ask yourself if what you're doing is moving the needle. Is it moving you closer to your goals? Or is it moving you further away from them? Because success happens one decision and one step at a time. With each decision, with each step, those decisions and steps are moving you forward and closer to hitting your goal, right? And with each step that you take, it really is, if it's the right step and the right action that is moving you closer to your goal, even if it's a small step, all of these things have a compounding effect where it creates a snowball effect. And now you've built momentum. Now you've built a rhythm. Now you've built a new way of being, a new way of approaching your business that's going to help you make the shifts that you need to make so that you crush it this year, because you have the opportunity of crushing it this year, right? So you really want to make sure that you are holding yourself 100% accountable, okay? This no more excuses, no more blaming someone else, because you're giving away your power when you do this. Whether you know it or not, you're giving away your power, and you are powerful. So don't give away your power, because if you give away your power, you don't have control of where you are or where you're going. You need to be the captain of your own ship. You need to be the navigator. You need to be the captain of your own ship. Results don't lie. Your results are the mirror of who you have been up to this point, and your results are truth tellers of who you've been and the decisions you've made and the actions that you've taken or not taken. Results don't lie. Okay. Results don't lie. So, where do you want to be this time next year? If you didn't hit your goals yet, you need to make some drastic changes, or you'll end up exactly where you are right now. Hey, Tammy. Tammy's in the house. Love it. But yeah, so you need to be hyper focused, right? You need to be really focused, because if you don't make any changes, you will end up exactly where you are right now. This is the definition of insanity, right? What do they say? Doing the same thing over and over again and expecting different results. If you don't change who you've been, and if you don't step into who you need to become, you're going to end up exactly where you are. Exactly where you are. So that's number one, is ownership mindset. 100% responsibility, 100% accountability for who you are and who you need to become. Okay. So if you're with me, type ownership down in the comments. Let me know that you're with me. I want to make sure this is resonating with you. If you're watching this on the replay, put hashtag replay and put ownership in the comments. Let me know that you're with me, ladies and gentlemen. All right. So number two is leadership mindset. Leadership is everything in this business. Most of us are here because we're business owners. You're either an author, coach, or course creator, right? And it's your job to step up and be a leader. You cannot build a successful business if you are the best kept secret. You need to be willing to stand up, step in so that you can stand out. This is a saturated industry, right? Coaching is so saturated. So you need to be willing to stand up, step in so that you can stand out. Be a leader. We talked about who you need to become, right? That was who do you need to become? You need to become a leader. You need to be willing to build an audience. You need to be able to bring people into your world. And you can't do that. You can't bring people into the top of your funnel without putting yourself out there and being visible. So you need to be able to practice being visible and step up as a leader. Why did you want to build this business in the first place? Why did you start this business? Most of us started it because we want time freedom, we want financial freedom, we want to affect change, we want to make a difference. We want to make a difference, and we want to leave the world a better place than how we found it. We want to leave a lasting legacy, right? That's why we started these businesses. But you cannot do it unless you're willing to become a leader, until you're willing to stand up, step in so that you can stand out. What keeps most of us from doing this is that we're afraid. We have this hag in the attic. It's what I call a little hag in the attic, that little voice, that critical voice in your head that lies to us all the time. All the time. You're not worthy. You don't matter. You're not good enough. You'll never be successful. You don't deserve this. That hag in the attic that is lying to you over and over and over again. And we need to be willing to dismiss the hag, and choose differently. Because the hag in the attic is fear in disguise. The hag is trying to keep us safe, right? When it's really keeping us stuck. We're taught to beware of fear, when what we should be practicing is being aware of fear. Let me say that again. We're taught to beware of fear when we should be practicing being aware of fear. And there are many, many faces of fear. Fear shows up in a lot of different ways. It manifests in our lives in a lot of different ways. And the most common that I see with me and my clients is avoidance, right? Confusion, excuses, resistance, anger, resentment, blame. All of those things are fear in disguise. So how does fear show up in your life? Learn to recognize when fear is showing up. Learn to recognize when you're in fight or flight mode and choose differently. Be aware of fear, right? And we're taught to beware of fear when we need to be practicing being aware of fear. Okay. So that's number one, is the ownership mindset. Number two is the leadership mindset. So if this is resonating with you, drop leadership in the comments. Let me know that this is resonating with you. If you're watching the replay, by all means, say #replay. Let me know that you've watched this, because these are really, really important. And these are lessons I learned the hard way, right? Lessons I learned the hard way that kept me stuck year over year over year, that kept me unsuccessful. And I want you to really hear the call here. This is the tap, right? There's a tap, a slap, and a 2x4, and this is the tap. Okay. So mindset mastery, you have to have the ownership mastery. You need to have leadership mastery. The third one is you need to have the mastery. Oh, see, I said mastery because I'm going right to number 3, which is mastery mindset. Okay. So ownership mindset, leadership mindset, and mastery mindset. You need to become a master of your craft, become a master of what matters. One of the mistakes that I made that I see people make all the time is they zig and they zag. They try something once, it didn't work, so they give up and they move on to something else. And really, that's like throwing spaghetti against a wall and hoping that something will stick. That is not the way to build a business here, folks. That's not the way to build a business. You need to practice your craft until you have mastered it. I gave up I had a couple failed launches and I gave up, and it was the dumbest thing I ever could have done. I left tens of thousands of dollars on the table by not mastering my craft and going back and continuing to hone in and continue to get better so that I had successful launches, right? So we need to make sure that we're mastering our craft. Don't zig, don't zag. Practice your craft until you master it. An example here I'll use is my daughter. She's really, really passionate about dance and all this kind of stuff. And she's hell bent on learning how to do a back walkover. And she practiced hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of times. She failed 99 times. It's the 100th time she finally mastered it. But all those times that she was practicing, all those times that she was trying, she was getting better. She was figuring out how high her arch needed to be in her back. She was figuring out how close her legs needed to be to her hands before she kicked over. She was figuring out how much momentum and how much effort she needed to put into the kick to propel herself over. So she was successful getting that back walkover done. And she practiced over and over, and she got better and better and better until she mastered it. Now she can do them in her sleep. She can do them with her eyes closed, but she needed to learn how to do it. She had to practice. She had to learn what she was doing wrong, and she had to learn where she could improve until she finally nailed it and mastered it. And so that's what I want you to do. If you're building a business, you need to pick just one launch strategy. One launch strategy. I just put together a document called Launch Codes, which I'm happy to share with you guys. It's called Launch Codes, and I think I have 10 different launch strategies there. There are different methods to the madness. Which launch strategy you use depends on, do you want a cash injection? What is the price of your offer? All these kinds of things need to be dialed in, right? So you pick the launch, you figure out which launch strategies are good for your business model. And then you have to pick one launch strategy, and you have to master it. There are dozens of ways to launch your programs. You could zig and zag, but you got to figure out which launch strategy you're going to use, figure out which one you want to use, learn it, and master it. Okay. I always tell my clients that they have to be resilient. They have to be willing to stay focused through the messy middle. This is the part where you're struggling to figure it out. Maybe you did a launch and it didn't work. And instead of giving up, right, you go ahead and you figure out what you can improve, and you go out and you do it again, and you do it again. Just like my daughter, falling over 99 times till she figured it out, right? So you have to figure out where you can improve, and you have to persevere through the messy middle. Hold yourself accountable to hanging on through that messy middle so that you can master it. And what you do is you tune out all the distractions. You got so many gurus. If you're on the computer, you're hearing all these different things from all these different people telling you this works. This is the best launch strategy. That's the best launch strategy. They're all good, right? There's lots of great launch strategies out there, but you cannot implement all of them. You need to pick one and master it. And then be aware of fear. Ask yourself, is what I'm doing right now, is it in alignment with what I want? Is what I'm doing right now propelling me forward, or is it holding me back? And then you need to stay hyper focused. Because one thing I can say about building a business is it can be really, really simple. I teach my clients simple strategies. It's so stupid simple, but it's not easy. Right? It's simple, but it's not easy. So hold yourself accountable. Step up and be the leader that you know you need to be, and be willing to go that extra mile. Because remember, the extra mile is never crowded. The extra mile is never crowded. Why? Because so many people give up before they hit that finish line. We don't want you to do that. If you really want to build a successful business, then you have to go that extra mile. That extra mile is never crowded. So be that 1% that does that extra mile. All right. So here is the mindset reset. Okay. Number one, 100% ownership. Results don't lie. They are the mirror of who you've been, and they will continue to be the mirror of who you are. Figure out who you need to become. How do you need to be different so that your results will be different? 100% responsibility, 100% ownership. Number two is leadership mindset. Be willing to stand up and step in so that you can stand out. Be the leader that you need to be so that you can get noticed and so that you can get those clients. Number three is mindset mastery. So you have ownership mindset, you have leadership mindset, and you have mastery mindset. Stick with it. Even during the messy middle, stick with it, persevere, master one launch method, then you can branch out from there. One launch method. Remember, it starts and ends with you. Your results are your mirror. Your business is a reflection of who you are. So remember, you are powerful, you are capable, and you can do this. You can do this, but there are no shortcuts, folks. There's no shortcut to success. This isn't easy. There's no easy button. There are no shortcuts. So you need to practice ownership mindset, 100% ownership accountability, leadership mindset, and mastery mindset. And if you do, this is going to prove to be your best year ever. You can do this. You can be successful. But I can do this. Oh my gosh. And I failed year over year. It's crazy. So much. But you're going to learn a lot from my mistakes and my messes, because I'm going to come up here and I'm going to show up and I'm going to share them with you so that you don't have to make the same mistakes. So I'm here for you. I hope this helped. I hope this helped. I hope this motivates you. I know you can do it. Don't be a best kept secret. Your clients are out there waiting for you. So together, let's figure this out so you can crush it this year. Okay. Thanks for coming. And again, if you are watching the replay, hit hashtag replay. Always great having you. Love you tons. All right. We'll talk soon.